So yeah, Volkanovski got knocked out. Illia Topuria, new champ. Half of me loves that Topuria is a champ. It's everything that he ever wanted. Dana has a new cash cow. He's undefeated. He has that Conor McGregor trajectory, that growth. Half of me is like, fuck, man. Volkanovski came back too quick. And it sucks to see that, again, that inside boxing that we talked about on this channel, Santi and myself, led to his demise as that right hook just sent him to the floor. And honestly, I don't know if it's because he came back way too early, which I think he did, or just, I'm not going to say it. I know the stat. Every time you go and you turn 35 plus, champions lose. I get that. I don't think that's what it is. I think it's just mentality wise. Volkanovski did look a little slow. He looked like he was just kind of like, gun shy. And anytime you're a champion trying to defend a belt, you cannot be gun shy. It looked like he was trying to control a fight with Topuria. And with a guy like Topuria, man, he's just going to keep advancing position. And he's going to keep having that relentless attack. And unfortunately, Volk could not stop it. And I think the time is now to ask the question whether Volk is either washed or he's turning over a new leaf where he is that stepping stone for fighters. And I still think he's a top 3, obviously a top 2 in the division other than Topuria, but like it sucks anytime you see a champion fall like that, or even when you see like your favorite fighter. For instance, Tony Ferguson, one of my favorite fighters, going into that Justin Gaethje fight, it was so gassed up. Tony was gonna get him out of 2, right? And then after a fight goes on a 7-fight skid. It sucks. Like it genuinely sucks. So I think Volk can bounce back, but he needs to do it with preparation. I don't think he did that with this fight. I'm not giving excuses for Volkanovski, right? Like I like Topuria, like a Georgian-born, Spain-raised champion. When have you ever seen that? You haven't. And again, with Topuria being that delusional champion already, it was bound to happen. I didn't think it would happen, but Volkanovski, there are holes in his game that we talked about, again, on the channel, like the inside boxing. I don't know what he does. Whether it's letting his guard down, he lets his hands down. He kind of gets caught in that gunfight trying to get out. But anytime you're backed against the cage, you're not going to be able to do that. And that's exactly what Topuria did. He walked him to the cage to where he couldn't bounce out. He couldn't teep. He couldn't circle out. And then fired the right hook that we have been talking notoriously on this channel about, that right hook that he always goes to. He's going to try to do a left hook into a right overhand like he always does. Or he's going to try to find that right hook, which he loves. He frames off with that left, and then he comes over with the right. And it's been shown, I don't know how many fights, the Jai Herbert, almost every single knockout that Topuria's had, he's either landed that right hook or he's set it up with the right hook. And it sucks to see Volk go out like this, because you think he would game plan against this, I would say, better. And if it's someone like me watching, and I can see that, like, you don't think Volkanovski and his camp have been not only practicing against it, but game planning against it. It's a weird era that we are seeing in the UFC now, where it's that turning of the tide, these new champions, and it looks as though the game is sped up tenfold. And you see, again, the Sugar Sean's, my boy, knocking out Aljamain, that had been reigning that division for, I don't want to say a minute, but a good couple of defenses. And you just look at the whole division. Dricus du Plessis taking down Sean Strickland, which then took down Izzy, that was reigning it for the whole, past 5 years. Every single step, Tom Aspinall's going to get his chance. He's got to get his chance. You see Pereira. You see almost every single division has either been cleaned out with a new champion in the last 2 years, or you see the last of, the Volkanovskis in the division getting wiped out and making and paving that way for that new type of champion. And it's good for the UFC. Of course, you would love to see a long-reign champ, but you don't want them clearing out the division. And that's exactly what Mighty Mouse did to that division, where he was clearing it out, and he knocked out Cejudo. Are we going to forget about that first fight, right? And then went back, and they end up trading him from Ben Askren, bro. Talk about a fumble. The UFC fumbled on that one. But again, you want to see these champions that are given those fights, that are fighting a lot, and Izzy did it, Usman did it. All of these champions have been doing that, and I think it's just caught up to Volkanovski. And it sucks to see now, but I think the changing of the guard was good. I think Topuria, he will be a good champion if he can fix his holes in his game, and we will see a long reigning champ. The kid's only 26, 27 years old. Topuria is on his way. He still has to fight Max Holloway. Let's not skip over that. Max might give him hell, to be honest, but I think Topuria might start switching up the game plan. And with Max Holloway, he might start to wrestle more, or he might start peppering those leg kicks like we saw against Volkanovski for the first round. And we alluded to this in our other breakdowns with Topuria, where he started peppering Josh Emmett's legs. And we kind of said, all right, he doesn't really throw too many kicks to where it needs to be noted. And then we saw that Volk fight where he's slowing Volk down with that leg kick, and he has to switch stances, and he really can't fire off. This might just be the evolution of Illia Topuria, and it's good to see. Genuinely, it is good to see someone that is coming into the division champion now that is starting to just pick up everything like a sponge. And that's what Topuria is. And again, say what you will with the new champion and these new champions here, the game has just evolved so much, so fast. And it's so fast to where you have Conor McGregor's coming back after a 2, 3, 4 year layoff, thinking they can still fight, and then taking a calf kick and just crumbling, right? Or not eating a head kick or anything like that, which you shouldn't eat a head kick at all, right? Just get out of the way. Easier said than done, but it's stuff like that where the game just advances and these fighters cannot catch up to it because their muscle memory is just so set on what was before and what worked before. And that's why if you go back, and again, I exclude some people from this list, but you go back to 5-10 years ago and you have fighters face off, the fighters now are going to demolish them, right? Of course, you're going to have your exceptions. You're going to have your GSPs and Silvas and all of that, but I'm talking the general gist of it, they're going to lose. These new fighters, and it always happen like this, right? New fighters, new styles, new things that work. People just don't adjust, and I don't know if Volkanovski adjusted enough to beat Illia Topuria, and that's why we're here. He's knocked out again. If he does fight, he has to wait a year. In my eyes, he has to wait at least 9 months to a year to fight again, because this is just a heartbreaking loss, not only for him, but his fans. To come back, he needs to go at it as if he is a contender, which he is unfortunately now. So if you guys agree, subscribe, comment, what is this changing of the guard in the UFC, and why have we seen so many champions this last 2-3 years that we haven't really seen going back 5-10 plus? But again, thank you guys for watching, and as always, it's been Studs.